Imagine scrolling through your feed and seeing a news image of a politician doing something really shocking. It looks real, you share it, your friends get angry, and the comments explode. A week later, you find out the image was completely fake. Yeah, generated, designed to manipulate your emotion. Now, here's the real question. Who is responsible? The algorithm, the client, or also the person, which is the designer who created it? Hello, everyone. My name is Lufan, and I'm a visual communication design student. And as a student, we live online. We believe what we see, poster, infographics, thumbnails, carousel, or even memes. Visuals shape our opinions about politics, health, trends, even wars. If visual misinformation spreads, it doesn't just damage reputation. It can influence elections, public health decisions, and social conflicts. And for us, especially in visual communication design, this is not just out there in the world. This is for our future job. As a visual communication design student, again, I have learned how composition, colors, typography, and imagery can guide perceptions and emotion. I've also read current work on visual misinformation, including research by Farid on 2023 on deepfakes and fake photos, the Design Council UK's Ethical Design Framework on 2024, and UNESCO 2025 report on visual literacy and misinformation. These sources show clearly that visual communication today is not neutral. It is powerful and therefore ethically charged. Today, I will argue three main points. Visual are uniquely powerful in shaping what people believe, which make misinformation through design especially dangerous. Designers are not just following orders, they are active participants whose choice can spread or reduce harm. As future professionals, we must adopt ethical guidelines and practical strategies to resist creating misleading visual, even make client pressure. To understand why designers have this responsibility, we first need to see how deeply visual influence what people accept as truth. So, visual have a powerful and often invisible influence on public belief. Images are processed faster and remember longer than text. Cognitive research shows that people remember pictures far better than written words. Visual can create strong emotional reaction in a fraction of a second. This is why political campaign, health campaign, and brand invest heavily in visual design, because they know image personally. Deepfakes and manipulated visual are making it harder to distinguish which one is the truth, which one is fiction. Farid 2023 explains that deepfake technologies can now create highly realistic fake photos and videos that are almost impossible for the average viewer to detect, especially when viewed quickly on social media. These visuals have been used to spread false narratives, fake scandals, and even propaganda. Visual misinformation visual misinformation can have serious real-world consequences. UNESCO 2025 report on visual literacy highlight cases where misleading infographics about health and vaccine contributed to public confusion and distrust. A misleading chart, a selective photo crop, or even a dramatic thumbnail can change how people vote, when they buy, and when they trust. If visuals are this powerful, then those who design them hold real influence over public understanding. That influence comes with responsibility. So if visuals are not neutral, what does that mean for the people who design them? Designers are not innocent bystanders. They make ethical choices with every layout, crop, and colors. Just doing what the client wants is not a moral shield. Critics argue that truth checking is not the designer job. They say the designer role is simply to execute the client's brief. But when a designer intentionally exaggerates numbers in a chart, or even use misleading before-after photos, or design clickbait thumbnails they know are deceptive, they become active participants in misinformation. Design decision can either clarify reality or even distort it. The Design Council UK on 2024 notes that ethical designers consider not only what they are communicating, but how their visual choices might mislead or manipulate viewer. For example, changing a graph scale to make a small difference look dramatic, using a stock photo out of context to suggest an event happened when it did not, retouching image so heavily that they create unrealistic beauty or body standard. Because we understand composition, framing, hierarchy, and color psychology, we know how to draw attention, right? And how to hide information and how to create a specific impression. That expertise gives us power. And as cliche as it sounds, with power comes responsibility. once we admit that our design decision can deceive, we can hide behind, "I'm just following orders." If designers have this responsibility, the next question is, what should we actually do with it in practice? So designer must adopt ethical principles and practical habits to combat visual misinformation. Embrace ethical design frameworks. The Design Council UK 2024 proposed guidelines for responsible digital design, including transparency, honesty, and user well-being. For visual communication, this can mean avoiding manipulative visual tricks that distort data, clearly labeling AI-generated or heavily edited imagery, if it is, declining projects that are explicitly deceptive, strengthen visual literacy for ourselves and audience. UNESCO 2025 emphasized the importance of visual literacy, the ability to analyze questions and understand visual message. As designer, we should be trained not just to make visual, but to clarify, evaluate how they can mislead. This can influence how we design fact-based infography, news visual, and campaign materials. Pushback, personally, when asked to create misleading content, and this doesn't mean being rude to the clients, no. It means explaining why certain visuals are unethically or risky. You can suggest alternative solutions that make communication goals without lying, or for example, honest data visualization, or using real instead of staged imagery, like pictures. And over time, designers who stand by ethical standards build trust and a stronger professional reputation. Incorporate ethics into VCD education and studio culture. Ethics should not be a side note. It should be a part of the visual communication courses, ethics, and project brief. As a student myself, now and a designer later, amen, we can normalize questions like, is this accurate? Could this mislead? What impact will this visual have if people believe it? By following ethical frameworks, improving visual literacy, and pushing back against dishonest requests, designer can actually reduce visual misinformation instead of feeding it. So what does all this mean for us, the next generation of visual communicators? Visual communication today is not about making things look good. It's about shaping what people believe is real. That means designers do have a moral duty to combat visual misinformation. Designers are not neutral tools. Our design decision can be steered or informed. For ethical framework, visual literacy, and professional courage, designer can actively fight misinformation. As future visual communication designer, we have the choice. We can use our skills to decorate deceptions or to defend the truth. Next time you design a poster, a thumbnail, infographic, a campaign, ask yourself, if 1,000 of people believe this visual, am I okay with that? If the answer is no, then that's exactly where our moral duty begins. Let's not just be designer who design things to make things look good. Let's be designer who have the word see clearly. Thank you.
Thank you.